The following is an episode of The Brian Brawdy Show, and listener discretion is strongly advised. Because if you're easily triggered, outraged, offended, maligned, mortified, insulted, or otherwise verbally injured, if you're constantly looking for a bubble, a safe space, some training wheels, or some water wings muffin to get through your day, take it up with a therapist. I'm not your shrink.
Thanks for listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. It's time to mortal up.
Good evening once again, and welcome to the Brian Brawdy Show this evening. Caught in their web. We're going to be talking all about it. I love that picture that's in the graphic, by the way. I shot that with a super high-powered lens in a swamp in Florida. I always thought that, believe it or not, that's the back of a spider. I always thought it looked like the mask of Jason in, was it Halloween or Friday the 13th? I can't remember what movie he was in. But I always thought, man, look at the back of that. No, that spider wants to make sure nobody grabs him from behind. That is one heck of a mask. Welcome again. Big evening. The president has left the hospital on his way back, I'm told. Everyone's told, right? All you got to do is have a wire on. Everyone's told that the president is on his way, if not already back at the White House. So good for him. Glad he's recovering at least and heading home. All right, so this evening, I want to thank a couple things before we get started. For Radio Bry, as you know, all along, Counterpunch Media has been a sponsor of Radio Bry, right? That's like the corporate home of everything we do for Brian Brawdy and Associates, Mortal Up and the like, right? And then outside of that, Certifiable Brilliance is now a sponsor as well. So more about them. Thank you guys very much. More about them as the days and weeks ahead. We're very excited to have you on board. So thank you very much. Let me say hello to Candace and to Dana. Whoop, whoop. Right back at you. Peace as well. We're very excited to be here. I had a 3-day weekend. Took Friday night off. As you know, if you've been following along, we took Friday night off just so we could go, hey, let's get 72 hours under our belt. And it worked out great. As Dana says, bless our nation. Dana, I wholeheartedly agree. And Candace says, well, hi, Dana. And I'm going to ad-lib. Please say hello to Big G for us if he's within earshot. Thank you so very much for joining us. Oh, another thank you that I want to send out, if at all possible, this evening is to my brother Bob. Now, Shane all the time is saying, oh, I really miss the gong, right? I really miss it that you don't have room to have the gong in. So I was talking to Bob about it, and he does a lot of, he works in a shop, right? He does all kinds of cool things with metal, and he's an artisan. He's very crafty, very creative. So I wanted to share this with you this evening. For all the people going, hey, what happened? There's no more room for the gong. What's going on? And we just unboxed it. It just arrived today. So here you'll see a handcrafted, nice leather, good piece of wood mallet. But wait till you see this. Now, I don't want to give it away. I don't tell you what it is, but wait till you see this. You ready? That, believe it or not, is a fire extinguisher. Now, here's what he does. He takes these fire extinguishers, guts them out, works his magic, and he turned it into a studio-size gong that we can use. Let's hit it one more time. Studio-size gong. Listen to the resonance. So we're going to work to figure out how we can get that fit into the studio. I should have built a bigger studio when we decided to do this. I should have built a bigger studio. But we're going to figure out how to get that in right after we get off the show tonight and before tomorrow night. So we'll show you the home's new resting place. But Bob, thank you very much. I super appreciate it. Shane, hope you're watching. If not live, then at least the rerun, and you'll get to see how we replace the gong. One day we'd like to have it, I would think, so that the gong can make it back in. But for right now, we'll be using the bottom of a fire extinguisher, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I want to thank you very much for that. Both Shane for going, you know what? I really miss the gong as I do. And then Bob for going, well, I'll just fix Shane's wagon. I'll tell you what we can do since he wants to. Remember the gong heard round the world back through all the brain surgeries? The gong heard round the world. That's our answer to it. Same to you, sister. Candace says, nice. Dana, thank you very much. I super appreciate it. It is cool. The vibrations are just awesome. And you know what I like to do? And I was only doing it for a couple minutes before we went on air tonight. I like to just sit in this room because of all the soundproof paneling and just hit that thing and let it just echo, right? Just let it vibrate out. It's really cool. So, Bob, thank you very much for that. So, Wayne, are you with us this evening? What are you up to, bud?
I'm here.
All right, so let's throw up the logos for the new show sponsors just quickly. Let's put up, if we can, throw in Radio Bry and then get everyone caught up to speed on everyone. I mean, me caught up to speed. There we go. Radio Bry, Counterpunch Media, as always, and Certifiable Brilliance, which is good. Oh, there's Counterpunch Media. Right. You know how much I miss all your stuff. Thank you so much, Candace. You'd be surprised. Some people weren't all that. Some people go, it's too busy. Too busy. So, but when I moved to the new place and I wanted to build a room that was, it's basically the size of it's not even the size of a porta-john, to be honest with you. I think porta-johns are bigger than this room around here. I'd have to check, but it's, about that size. So, and Certifiable Brilliance, we are excited. And we'll be, like I said, we'll be talking about that more in the future as that moves along. But Wayne, this evening, what'd you think of the new gong, Wayne?
I think it really sounds great.
Doesn't
he
it,
really
though?
tuned that thing in.
I know. He did it. Dana says, good work, Bob. So, Bob, if you're listening, good work. Thank you so very much. All right. So, Wayne, now that I got you before you slip off, so let's talk about the great state of Michigan. So I see that Alyssa Milano's lookalike, her name's Whitmer, I think. Gretchen Whitmer, your governor.
Uh-huh.
It's hard to tell who's older. They've both had the same amount of plastic surgery. But I swear, when I see a picture of Whitmer, she looks just like Alyssa Milano. Or maybe, right, maybe maybe she looks like her. I don't know. But in any event, they look exactly alike.
I'll try to put a side-by-side picture up tomorrow night.
It's scary. It's scary. It's scary. I'm telling you, they've had the same plastic surgery. It's uncanny. But in any event, Candace says it looks like solitary confinement. Oh, Candace B, that were it true. Because I love solitary confinement. Let me just say this, everyone's talking about, COVID, the 6-foot rule, this or that. I've adopted a 6-foot rule, and as many of you know, I've thrown in a 3-second violation. If you come into my 6 feet and you're there for more than 3 seconds, it's a lane violation. I love this social distancing. I love it, people getting out of my way when I come down the aisle, right? I don't say you have to genuflect when I walk in, but damn, it's nice when people are giving me some space, right? I'm loving it, Wayne, but I guess there are some people that aren't as thrilled with other aspects of the emergency COVID orders. What's going on in the crazy state, and I love it, what's going on in the crazy state of Michigan?
Well, the governor was sued.
Ooh.
And it went...
Now, this is Whitmer, not Milano.
Whitmer. Governor
Whatever.
Whitmer was sued.
All right.
And the state Supreme Court ruled that her executive actions unconstitutional as far as the Michigan state constitution is concerned. That the governor does not have the authority to make law. Only the legislature can make law. So he ordered the opening of the state immediately.
So in other words, it's like the movie Caddyshack when they open the swimming pool for 15 minutes a year and all of the caddies were able to cannonball into the pool. That's what's going on in Michigan tonight. Everybody cannonballing into freedom.
Into restaurants, bars, clubs, everything. Bowling alleys, movie theaters.
Oh, now little Jimmy accosted over at the Circus News Network. He's not going to be happy. Joseph Haggerty says, hey, smells better than a Porta-John. Well, thank you, Joseph. I have like an atomizer. I try to keep the smell going. Dana Lee says unconstitutional was the ruling. So, Wayne, how do you feel? Is it easier to breathe tonight there? What's going on now that little Governor Whitmer is in some hot water herself?
Well, she's sort of fuming, but you're starting to see the restaurants, parking lots are filling up. For me, I'm a homebody most of the time anyway.
Right. All right. All right. So maybe Dana or Joseph, or for that matter, Candace, maybe can comment. So does that mean when she threatens to send out the state police, the local police, the sheriffs, whatever, when she threatens to send them out to enforce whatever rules she's come up with, now that it's unconstitutional, the police aren't just going to listen to her about these particular rules? Is that how it works?
Well, the sheriff's department wasn't enforcing her rules anyway. None of the sheriff's departments were. And very few of the local police were. So,
look, it's at least nice to know that there are separate branches, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial, right? Even though we all know it's a government by robes, right? The courts run everything.
The courts run everything, but the reason the sheriff gets away with that is because the sheriff's department, the local sheriffs, don't report to the governor.
You'd think she'd know that by now. Sheriffs don't report to anybody.
They are elected by the people.
That's right. They're the supreme law enforcement officer in the county that they're in.
Yep.
Joseph says a Baby Ruth moment. Yeah, how can you forget the Baby Ruth moment with Bill Murray cleaning out the pool? He said, oh, listen, speaking back of the day, he was able to foretell what would happen. He had a hazmat suit on just to go out and about, right, to protect himself from whatever could be slimming around in the chlorine or COVID or whatever. But Bill Murray says a Baby Ruth moment. Joseph is absolutely right. So now in Michigan, you all are free to fly.
Pretty much. I think there's a 21-day period.
At least 21 days. So what does that mean?
At least that's what Whitmer's saying.
There's a 21-day. So in other words, law enforcement agencies are just going to start ignoring her.
They've been, like I said, they've been ignoring her.
They've been ignoring her. All right. So what else is going on in the world today? I've been a little busy doing some writing. I haven't caught up. I heard that the president was out of Walter Reed. And I see now that there's a Washington Post columnist saying that she is attacking the doctors there for endorsing the president's insanity. Blah, 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 blah. So
that's the Washington Compost.
Yeah, the Washington Compost. That's right. Oh, but I guess the big breaking news, if we were going to do a Low Life's Making Headlines tonight, now, a lot of people, we talk all the time, Wayne, about news you can use, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people might not know this. A lot of people didn't watch. There was a huge dip in the number of people that watched the NBA Finals Game 2, huge ratings dip. A lot of people might not know that LeBron James won the Low Life's Making Headlines Award for tonight, for our show, because he was a little ticked, a little miffed, a little not happy with the way things were going. So he walked off the court, leaving the rest of his team on the court before the game was over. He walked off the court, and they were a player short for the remainder of the game. Now, I think it was just a handful, half a minute, maybe a quarter of a minute, just a handful of seconds. But it's the thought that counts. Who is he to turn around and walk off a court before the buzzer, leaving the other team of prima donnas, leaving him one prima donna short? Who is he? He's tonight's Low Life's Making Headlines.
Well, and keep in mind, LeBron is also the guy who was whining because he did not win MVP this year.
Oh, geez. I haven't even followed. I got to tell you, I don't watch unless they let me get on the court and play. I don't see much sports. So he didn't get the MVP, I'm guessing. So someone else did. Who was that person? Do you even know?
Off the top of my head, I don't have it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. But isn't that something else? So, yeah, all the more reason he should get the lowlifes making headlines. Even if you don't like the way it's going, you stay to the buzzer. You don't leave your mates behind. You don't walk off the court. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's that. All right, Wayne, we're going to test out a little something here. Oh, look at it already, 7:15. Sorry to go over. Why don't you hit it?
The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent.
Oh, I like that one. So if you want to come on later, bottom of the hour, don't forget we're going to open the phone lines. If you want to come on, because now with sponsors, you look and you go, oh, Candace says, walked off, who cares? Laughed out loud. I'd say some people look about like Howard Hughes by now, Candace says. So we have the views expressed by the people are not necessarily the views of anyone here. Although chances are pretty good if you call into this show, we've got some views that are the same, you and me, I would think. But just in case now with sponsors, you need a little bit of a disclaimer, right? That says, hey, that's not always the case. So Wayne, thank you very much. All right, Wayne, what else is going on in the world today before we get to don't get caught in their web? You got it. And we did, LeBron and the lowlifes making headlines. You got anything else going on you want to kick around? You got to watch Wayne. Sometimes he sneaks out for a dinner break. No? Okay, then. No? Nothing else? I'll take that as a drop the mic hard no. All right, so here's what I'm fired up to talk to you about tonight. I think it was one day last week. Candace can probably help remind me. I don't know. Somebody left. Wallace is a Lolov. Can I add more? No, Candace, before we get started on don't get caught in their web, Candace says Wallace is a lowlife. Can I add more? Yes, Candace, you can. And if Wayne is back from his dinner break, he could put, oh, you're back. Okay, so he could put up what do I used to call it? The Maleficent 7, because Candace says, hey, can she add a name? So what we'll do, Candace, is we'll add Wallace and LeBron James, and of course, Nancy as the anchor of our tug-of-war team for, right, the Maleficent 7. We'll add those for tomorrow night's show, so tune back in, and you'll see Wallace, LeBron James, Nancy Pelosi, and of course, we'll find 4 other names. And people are welcome to nominate those names right here.
Washington Compost.
Yeah. Oh, Washington Compost reporter. We might put that up. That's a great point, Wayne. As you can see, Joseph says, Wayne. What is that? Bueller. All right, I guess he's not here. So here's the thing. Last week, as you know, if those of you that were on the show, some that may not be, I know Wayne knows, we had a listener that threw a bit of a fit before. This would be great if I had the sound effect of a door slamming, right, Wayne? Threw a bit of a fit and then left because I was perceived as being too right. And by right, although you and I know it means correct, spot on, nailed it, drop the mic, end of discussion. Boy, when you hit it out of the park, you drive it deep, Bry. Not that kind of right. But he meant that politically I was too far right. So I started thinking a lot about it. I started thinking, and I remember Joseph, Mr. Haggerty and I having this conversation, he and his wife and I, and actually having this conversation. Golly, it's been over a year, brother. Can you imagine that? A year or more since we got to hang out in person, pre-COVID. And I was saying that it's not a function of either the political left, political right. Wayne and I we've crafted the spot that's called wing sauce, right? Whether you're left wing or right wing underneath, it's still a chicken wing sauce. And then we go into the spot. Well, this listener last week, before this listener said goodbye and made his point to tell everyone that he was leaving, says, oh, I just can't take this show. It's too far right. So I've been thinking about that a lot over the weekend while I'm, doing things around the yard, this, that, everything else. I'm building a table, seeing if I can't make the, recording booth a little bigger, that kind of thing. So what dawned on me, and Wayne, could you throw up the graphic that we worked on today with the Dow follows its own path? Bueller. There we go. Bueller. All right. So what dawned on me over the weekend was that I've not really grown up to be either politically left or politically right, a little more mainstream, a little more right down the window. But from my time on the cave in and around Beijing, and most certainly on two of these pictures are from Wudong Mountain in China, what I listened to and what I learned from the masters, this little saying that you see up top, and the master, the calligraphy master that drew this for me, basically is the Tao follows its own path. You and I have said it before. We've talked about it before. We say, thy will be done. In the Islamic faith, you'll hear, inshallah, if Allah wills. Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. The Tao following its own path means that you learn to embrace the suck. Like, it's very Jobian, if you will, from the Old Testament. Very Job. Whatever fate throws at you, you don't square you don't tuck your tail and run. You don't turn your back to it and just kind of hunker down and wait for it to have its way with you. What embrace the suck means, what the Tao follows its own path means, is that you don't avoid the Tao following its own path. You don't avoid what it's trying to bring with you. You meet it head on. You realize that you were built for the brawl, that your back was built for the corner, and that in those moments where you think all hope is lost, what you do is square your shoulders and say, you got to go through me, and you accept everything. Oh, look at Dana. Thank you very much. Dana says Chris Wallace was an intern for Biden. Conflict of interest. Well, I know the second guy coming up was an intern for Biden. That's for sure. I didn't realize they had found out Chris was. I didn't know that. Dana Lee says Wayne put Cuomo on the list and de Blasio. Wow. So Dana's saying we should do a whole like Northeast, East Coast thing with the exception of LeBron and Nancy. They're West Coasters now. But we're kind of, oh, you know what we'll do? We'll do a coastal thing, ignoring all us deplorables in the middle. Dana, you're absolutely right. We could put Chuck Schumer on there. As Joseph said, the truth is the truth. Absolutely correct. And when you subscribe to the Tao following its own path, that's the truth. Just the facts, man. Joseph channeling his Joe Friday. Just the facts, man. Remember that from Dragnet? Candace says, Dana, you are on a roll. Miss Putnam, good evening. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us here on the Brian Brawdy Show. Don't forget, here in just a few minutes, bottom of the hour, we're going to run. We'll be taking your calls, but you're welcome to text us if you like. Let me say a quick hello to everybody over on YouTube, watching us live. Obviously, here on Facebook, thank you so very much. And for everyone listening, whether it's on Twitter or LinkedIn or over at Radio Bry on mortalup.com, thank you so very much for having us into your home this evening, an evening where President Trump is now flown back from the hospital. I've gotten it on good authority. Thank you for everyone that's listening on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. If you're catching the podcast, the recorded version of this episode, thank you so very much for joining us. We super appreciate it. And we're talking about my experience. Dana says, before we get to that, Dana says they are all complicit to abuses of power. Well, Governor Whitmer, it should be a wake-up call, I would imagine, Dana, for people going, I don't know. Somebody better pay attention to that. But what we're talking about this evening before we get to ready to run to the bottom of the hour is that the Tao follows its own path. And the way not to get caught in the web is to be constantly worried about outcomes. And I can remember from my time in the cave on Wudong Mountain in China, and there's only a handful of the masters that Wayne put up in that picture. The underlying lesson that I learned, and this was the drum that was in the clock tower, believe it or not, in Beijing. Not technically not far from Tiananmen Square. And later up in the mountains, the two masters to either side, one in calligraphy and one in the martial art that I was studying. Dana says, correction, Steve Scully was the intern. My bad. Okay, thank you, Dana, very much for clarifying. I thought it was Steve. So we're talking this evening about the Tao following its own path, meaning Whatever fate deals, you're going to handle it. It's your destiny to handle fate. And then the labyrinth of life, the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, the pivots, the swerves. Never a dead end, always a cul-de-sac. The people that make it best in life want to bring their best to the moment. They're not worried about outcomes. And I would just say, now I know this is selfish of me, but it's become, what's the term I'm looking for, Joseph? Ladies, if you can help, it's cult of personality. Remember, you'd think I would remember Gorbachev, right? This Halloween with the scar on the top of my head, I'll be going as Gorbachev. See right there. But if you remember when he was giving a speech going, look, we've turned this into a cult of personality with Lenin and Mao and everyone else. It's not about the law. It's about the personality that's exacting the law. So when I talk about the Tao following its own path, when I talk about don't get caught in the web, don't pull yourself outside, right? Thy will be done. Don't pull yourself, just the facts, man. Don't pull yourself outside of that. Don't let it happen to you. All right, little power trouble. Hold on here 1 second.
Get your flashlight.
We're going to be doing the second half of the show in the dark. Pow, chicken. Wow. Yeah, who the heck knows what happened there? You know, sooner or later something like that would happen. Let me see. I think I got this one. I don't know what this light's going to look like here, but we can try this one. All right, let's just see. Maybe we'll go like that. Oh, imagine there's a power outage, right? So this is like a little, I don't know what this is like, a fireside chat, let's call it. So that's the light we'll have as we finish this out. But here's the thing. The Tao follows its own path, just like the light going off right now. You deal with whatever fate. That's weird. Hair standing up for what hair I have on the back of my neck. The hair stand up on the back of my head. That's exactly what we're talking about. Whatever happens, you go with the flow. You embrace the suck, as my brother John says all the time. Thank you, sir. May I have another? And I think Candace says ghost. Joseph says living color. Cult of personality is when we start to care more about the person pulling our strings, the marionette, right? The puppeteer, and not about the laws. So when people want to say, you're far right or you're this or that, I have to be honest. And then we're going to get ready. Or are we all ready? Yeah, we're just about a minute away. Before we run to the bottom of the hour, there's certain things that I believe in. I believe in your right. I call them retractable clause. I believe in every human being's, I don't even know if I think it's a right. I think it's so far past being a right. I think it's a necessity to be able to defend yourself and your family. That's all I'm saying. So I don't care who the president is. I'm not going to buy in, as Gorbachev said, to the cult of personality. I just want to make sure the Second Amendment in the United States is protected. There are just other laws, other rules that I think are important. And it just so happens that the rules that are near and dear to me happen to be some of the things that are on the Republican platform now. I couldn't care less who you nominate. I couldn't care less who your overlord is. I couldn't care less who you say is an earthly king. I couldn't. More cult of personality stuff. I think he was right. I think Gorbachev was absolutely right when he gave that speech back in the 90s. What I'm saying is there are certain things that I believe in that I want to see protected. Oh, and as a side note, before we get ready to run to the bottom of the hour, I cannot wait to see who they find, who ends up in jail over the whole Russian collusion thing. That, I just don't want to see that go away. I'll vote for whoever I have to make sure we get to see how that plays out. What's going to happen to Brennan? What's going to happen to Clapper, to Strzok, and to Page, and to Comey and McCabe? I don't want to see that show go away. All right, bottom of the hour, we're going to go ahead. We will be right back.
You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. Why? Because you know the truth when you hear it. He'll be right back.
Back, he means right now. Actually, that was supposed to go in front of the music, but we're still ironing out some of the kinks, including the lighting kink. As I said, the Dow following its own path. So now we're going to do a fireside chat, a nice little, I can't figure out what's wrong with that light. We test all these things, but you know what? Into every life, a little rain must fall. All right, so we're getting ready to open the phone lines. Candace says, I didn't vote for Trump because of his personality. I voted for issues I believe in, period. Candace, I'm with you. And that's all I'm saying. Joseph says, Black Hawk helicopters getting closer. I know, I hear that all the time. I hear that sound. And I'm wondering sometimes, maybe it's just in my head, but they killed the power, right? I gotta have a, what is it? A signal, Wayne. There's got to be some kind of signal that I can give if they're coming after me. They've already killed the power. Who knows if this is even going out to Facebook or anywhere else. All right, so let's get ready. We're going to go ahead and open the phones. Don't forget, you can also text us at 833-667-8251 if you're not here in the Facebook feed. That's 833-MORTAL and the numeral 1. I'm sure Wayne will throw everything up here in the feed. Give us a text. Let us know what you're thinking. And if you're listening on mortalup.com, if you're listening on radiobry.com or on YouTube, you can go ahead and text us as well if you like, or give us a call here into the studio, 833-MORTAL and the numeral 1. All right, so this evening we're talking about embracing the suck. The Dow follows its own path. The calligraphy that Wayne put up earlier was at those 4 markings literally mean follow the flow of nature. The Dow follows its own, right? The river's going to follow its own flow. So for me, it makes it so much easier to get through life when some of the Stoic philosophers, I put up a text over the weekend talking about Stoic philosophy and going with the flow of the river, just as it is. I will be done. Thank you, sir. May I have another? And when you do that, it frees you up because people say, oh, well, how about the stress? What stress? Well, do you ever worry about what people say about you? No. I suspect I worry. I think maybe from time to time, I want to make sure my kids don't hate me. But other than that, I'm never really all that concerned with what other people think about me, right? Because that's getting tangled in the web. That's outside. And it's going to be what it's going to be. So why lose any sleep over it? Why? Wayne says the phone lines are open. Call or text 833-667-8251. You can also post a feed if you're following us here on Facebook. We'll do the same thing. We're talking about, and it's tough these days, I'll tell you, because a lot of people go, oh, you're in China? Isn't that where they cooked up this Chinese Communist Party virus? Well, as I've said many times before in some of the other countries that I've traveled to, it's always the government looking to mix things up with everybody else. It's never the people. Some of the nicest people, some of the most welcoming people were in the neighborhoods in and around Tiananmen Square. Welcomed me in for lunch, for tea. Some of them, just some of the most fascinating people. So I would remind anybody listening, live or on podcast taped, that most times it's the government that wants to pick the fights. The people are usually pretty cool. The people are doing what they can just to get through. Right? It's the maniacs that want to pick fights. It's the globalists that want to pick fights. The rest of us masses, right? The maniacs versus the masses. The rest of us are just trying to get through the day. The rest of us just want to be happy. The rest of us just are working to be good people. Now, if you listen to some people in the media, traditional media, I heard someone call it today, they want you to believe that we're all racist. They want you to believe that we're all horrible people. They want you to believe that we're ready for a war. I saw something the other day where I think it's called the Proud Boys, I think is the name of it, Wayne. But in Utah, the head of the Proud Boys and the head of the Black Lives Matter coalition got together and said, let's stop all the violence. That's where I am. And I go back to the myth of the Holy Grail, where it says the Grail was forged by the angels of the middle path that sided neither with Satan nor with the Lord. Right? And we're going to get caught up in the web. And we're going to get caught up in Lucifer's craziness. Right? And it was the middle angels that forged the grail that would later become so important to Christ. So for me, I've always liked that. I've always liked the continuation of King Arthur pulling the sword from the stone. It's your sword to pull from the stone. So don't let anybody get in your way and attempt to tell you that that's not the way it's supposed to be. All the craziness. Governor Whitmer, Supreme Court finally in Michigan going, no, you can't do that. It's the legislature that's got to be able to say what the laws are, not you. Or as Wayne reminds me, the Washington Compost. They want to defund, it says. Rips Trump's doctors. Can I just ask a question? What insanity? For those of us that are like, look, the Dow follows its own path. If I get it, if I get it. If it kills me, it kills me. So what? Move on. What insanity? What insanity? The Dow follows its own path. Thy will be done. Inshallah. What is this insanity? I don't understand. But I do understand the Washington Compost will do whatever they can to make everybody else feel different, to make everybody, not in a good way, to make everybody else feel weird. And I'm simply suggesting that when you embrace the suck, when you allow the Dow to follow its own path, you're like an archer, right? Someone with a bow and arrow that works on their skill level. But once that bow leaves, once the string leaves your fingers, that arrow starts down course, they no longer feel responsible for where it hits. Target could move, wind could blow, could be an earthquake, a bird could fly by. You know, it was very interesting. I heard this the other day. Air Force Two, Vice President Pence's plane says, it had to return because a bird, it just gives you an idea of some of the self-importance of some of our handlers, right? The report was a bird flew into the engine. Well, that's like saying a bug flew into your windshield driving down the highway. No, at 80 miles an hour, you flew into the bug. The bug didn't fly into you. Bug's just minding its business, being a bug. And all of a sudden, you come clipping along with your big old windshield, right? We got the music blaring. We're kicking it up. We flew into the bug. But the vice president's plane, a geese or a goose, I think it's Canadian geese. A geese flew into the engine. No, it didn't. That plane is traveling so fast, that engine flew into the geese. I don't know. Weird play on words. I get it. Candace asks, have you seen the walk away movement? Just before she had said, yes, they are all colors. Where they got white supremacy group, I'll never know. Fake news. So Candace, tell us a little about it. Give me a text. Give us a call maybe if you want. I think the phone lines are still open for another 5 minutes or so. What is the walk away movement? See if other people here are familiar with it as well. But what we're talking about tonight as we get ready to open Mortal up is that don't get trapped. Don't fall into their web. Because they want to entrap people. That's how they exercise power. When they can convince you that you're a Meshuggah, when they can convince you, or at least attempt to convince you, to divide your heart and your head, when they can convince you that you're nuts and that you really are misguided or horrible or this or that, they begin to win the battle because they know darn well they can't take you when you're full force. When you're channeling your natural resources, your buried logic, your authentic grit, when you're channeling those things, They know you're unstoppable. And I think that's why people are so focused. Some of the people that want to be in power, that want to control, are doing anything they can to divide you from who you truly are. Because they can't take you as you truly are. Sheila says, Brandon Straka. Thank you, Sheila. Let me see. Straka. Yeah. Oh, I can type with 4 fingers, huh? How can we on the conservative side find a way to do better? I expect nothing from the liberal media. Oh, look at you. Well, let's go and see let's check out this Brandon guy. I didn't even know. Walk away campaign. Thank you very much. I will follow. No, I don't want to create an account. Just let me in. I will follow. Okay, Brandon Straka. Dana Lee put up a post. High Court strikes down Governor Whitmer. Authentic grit. Thank you very much. And don't forget authentic vigor. The very thing that you need. So here's where we're going to go. We're going to go here. No, this is the first. This is wild. See, I got to get out more. Banding and organizing. We can do better. Absolutely agreed. And that's what it means by don't get caught on their web. I don't know. Sheila, thank you so much. I don't know much about, but I will very shortly. I will for tomorrow night's show know a little more about this Brandon Straka. Will you just let me sign in? Good golly. I tell you, this Twitter is something else. Once you get, right, they'll kick you out for anything, but trying to get in is a pain. All right, so let's go here. Brandon Straka. AKA, that's right. That's 4 fingers of typing right there. All right, so what? Yeah, he's saying incredible, a little bit of a skirmish. He's got a good following as well. Thank you, Sheila, very much. I'll absolutely. Thank you, Dana. Authentic figure. It's a great movement, Candace says. All right, well, I'm going to do some more research. I just followed him. Thank you. And here's the walk away campaign. So I guess you can follow both. You get to do both. Thank you for that. See? I don't get to read everything, so thank you all very much. I super appreciate it. Candace says, just packed in D.C. on Saturday. So I guess there was something going on. Good. I'm glad. Like to hear it. So let's not get caught up in the web. Let's not get caught up in the craziness. These walking, talking pits of human quicksand. Or as I've called them before, walking, talking Venus flytraps with arms and legs trying to draw you in. Let's not get caught in the web. Embrace the suck. Whatever happens, happens. The Tao follows its own path. Thy will be done. Inshallah. If that's your proclivity. But when you and I rise to the challenge of the moment, we can be unstoppable. And I think that's what's important to remember. Wayne, how you doing? Volume? There we go.
I'm alive.
You're alive. All right. What else is going on? What else did you find out from me? This Brandon Straka. I like this. And Dana showed me a little bit. Thank you, Dana, about the walk away campaign. I'm embarrassed to tell you, I didn't know much. I didn't know anything about this. But I'll be researching this. I like it. But that's the theme of tonight's show. Walk away. Don't get caught in the web. Embrace the suck. The Dow's going to do what the Dow's going to do. Dana's right. We're unstoppable. But we're stoppable if we buy in and when we buy into the Meshuggah. Wayne, what else is going on? What am I missing other than just everything?
Well, we're at 45.
Oh, we're at 45. Great. So let's try that.
Portions of this broadcast have been pre-recorded.
Why? Because you can't get these people to hit a call time. They're the worst. Nah, I'm just kidding. We love our guests. We do, but it is hard to get some of them to hit a call time. So here's what we're going to be doing from now on. Wayne, thank you for making a cameo. I appreciate that. The monitor is so big here in the studio that when you come on, it's like, oh, yeah, I can definitely tell there's something else going on. So thank you for reminding me of that. But we're going to start doing some of our recorded interviews, if you will, especially for the Mortal Up segment, because a lot of people they can't hit a call time. It's just the truth. They can't nail it. So we're going to get some of these pre-recorded and play them so that we can learn from them. We can have their wisdom. And Wayne, we got to go after this Brandon, what is it? Brandon Straka guy. See if we can't get him to do a little something for the show as well, because I think it's great. It says he's booking media. Good. Campaign founder on a mission. Red pill humanity.
Work on it.
Yeah, we'll get right up on that. See what we can do. All right, very cool. So that's what we have planned coming up in the very near future. Again, is we will be interviewing some of these guests on tape so that we have those interviews. Even if they can't hit the show live, we want to be able to have the interviews, and then their wisdom can go on and on and on, and on Spotify. Oh, God, which reminds me, Wayne, I was supposed to put in a plug. Forgot already. This past Sunday, I think, was the airing of that show, that interview show that I did about National Geographic. I forgot all about it. I don't even know what it's called now, but we'll work on that plug. We'll get it. And we'll put it up for tomorrow to see what's going on. Wayne, anything else going on in your world?
Not in my world.
No, a little bit of a power outage here right after I talked about embracing the suck. So that's kind of weird.
It looks like a partial power outage.
Looks like a what?
Partial.
Yeah, I know. And these lights are dependable as a country day is long. So I don't know what happened, but
Fuse?
I don't know. Maybe it could be a fuse. It's one of those band lights. They're usually pretty effective. I don't know. Maybe if it gets too warm, but there's a nice little cool breeze in here. I don't know what it could be, but in any event, it was perfect timing for Embrace the Suck. Candace says, I posted it on my page. Take a watch and listen. Thank you, Candace, very much. I appreciate that. Dana also put up a link. High Court strikes down Whitmer. So, Wayne, you got to tell me, what's everybody else saying? They got to be thrilled. I mean, this impacts all kinds of people, I would think.
Yeah, you don't hear much about it just yet. The people talking on the street, they're just showing up. People aren't talking about it.
All right.
That's one of the things interesting about Michigan. People, in a lot of the areas, people just don't say a lot.
All right.
Because they don't want to get in the arguments or the heavy discussions.
Oh, speaking about the argument, when is the Pence-Harris debate? Right?
Wednesday.
It's got to be. Yeah, it's going to be Wednesday. So day after what is today? Monday?
Monday.
So day after tomorrow?
Yeah, Pence headed out west today.
I got in trouble last time when I said it was going to be the greatest moment in the history of television, and I was wrong. It was more of a debacle than a debate. So I better not say anything. But I'll tune in Wednesday, right, just to see what happens. And I'm getting another text also from a friend at CBS. President is out. All right, nothing really new there, just saying that he has left the hospital, heading back to the White House. But, Wayne, you bring up a valid point. They probably have a mini hospital right in there.
Look up.
I would think, right?
Look up.
Their own little hospital. Oh, Mortal Up. Okay. Hey, you know what? Two different things I found a picture of Alyssa Milano. She looks exactly like Whitmer. I just found a picture of her. Exactly alike. Also, Dreyer's announces new name for derogatory Eskimo pie. I told you that joke would work. That was a joke about the president deciding to take Eskimo pies. Are you kidding me? Eskimo pie is now considered derogatory. Well, I guess I have to go. We should go out. King Arthur changes its name and logo is another story that goes along with that. You got to be kidding me. So now we're not even allowed to say Eskimo pies. Is that how it works? Well, that's just peachy.
Sure sounds that way.
All right. Well, for the first three people that text me, oh, let's do this. I'll send you a box of Eskimo pies. Send me that shirt, Wayne. That one may fit. I'll send you another one, you Wayne, Bart says, send him that shirt. That one may fit. If it didn't fit, let me know. I'll get you another one. States' rights versus national government news. I like the way that sounds, Joe. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's Wayne. He uses this as a hand towel. You can't get him to wear the damn thing. All right, Bart said, send me that shirt, Wayne. That one may fit. Well, stop doing so many push-ups, Bart. Get one that'll fit across your chest. You're like Bashard. You know what? Bart could pull a tree up by he could pull a tree right out of the ground, I bet. Candace says, I like that tee. Candace, if you would, instant message Wayne your address. I know you're thinking, I don't want Wayne having my address, but he's not that bad a guy. He really isn't. He has my address. I think, maybe. He's got the old one, so that's how we do the bait and switch. But no, instant message him your address, and I'll get you a T-shirt out. Candace, you're always doing great field work. And also, Dana, you know what, Dana? Go ahead, do the same thing. Send your address over to Wayne if you would be so kind. Don't post it here in the feed. Send one over to Wayne, and we'll get you each a shirt out for always hanging out. And then I sent Bart the same size I sent you and me, Wayne. I don't know. We'll get him another one, though. Probably like a double X would be good. He's right. It's all that tractor, all that throwing hay around. He's built like a marble brick house. They make marble houses out of brick, or do they make bricks out of marble? I don't know. All right, Wayne's telling me it's time to get the Mortal Up. We've kind of been going over some of the Mortal Up part, and it's simply this. You're already everything you've ever wanted to be. Everything you've ever wanted, you've always had. Most certainly everything you've ever needed to be happy, to be healthy, to be successful, to be bigger, faster, stronger. You've always... I'm not sure I understand what OV... I'm not up on the lingo, apparently. I didn't even know who Brandon Straka was. So somebody, do you know what? Can you translate that for me, Wayne? I don't even know what OV means. I have no clue. All right, Bart, let me know what that means. But yeah, we will definitely bang you out. Wayne, get ready. We'll have an influx of addresses. So I just got a new run of shirts today, as a matter of fact. So let's get a couple, 3 of them out there, Wayne. That'll give me something to do tomorrow. That'll be, right, other than learning all this. Thank you. I like the Viking look. I'll wear it. Well, thank you, Candace, very much. I super appreciate it. It was kind of half Viking, half pull your old Vienna. I know what old Vienna is, but thank you for clarifying. That old Vienna gives you a chest that size? God, love you. I need to give up push-ups. Right? If I knew I could get that drinking an off-brand beer, watch out. Forget the gym. I'm heading straight to the bar. All right, so tonight for our Mortal Up segment, you already know where we're headed with this. Everything you've ever needed, you've always had. To be happy, to be healthy, to be successful. When you don't get caught up in their web. When you adopt, and I know it's terribly stoic, and you have to practice it like anything else, but the Tao truly does follow its own path. And you can align yourself with that flow, or you can spend the rest of your life beaten up against the rocks by it. So for me, I've found, you may find, if I might suggest, that you go with the flow. Now, that doesn't mean you surrender. That doesn't mean you tap out. Doesn't mean you pancake, doesn't mean you give in. It simply means you're here for the brawl. Whatever fate throws at you, whatever the Tao is going to do, you're going to up it one. You're here for the ride, wherever the stops are along that ride. And I know it's not a popular opinion now. Everyone, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if? I've talked countless times about the people that get on a highway here in Ohio, here in any state, your state, anywhere in the world. Couple 300 a year in most states. They get on, cranking to the Rocky Horror Picture Show soundtrack in their car on Sirius or Spotify. And they're planning on getting 5 exits up the road, pulling over for dinner, or they're going to a show, or they're going here or going there. They never make it to that exit. Their number's up. Their passport's been called in. So instead of worrying about when that happens, how are you going to face when that happens? Are you going to do it all worried, all crying? Or are you going to go, I gave this life the best run possible. I have no regrets. Wouldn't do a damn thing over again. There goes Wayne with his button. Wayne, you really are working on that bleep button, aren't you? There. Oh, it's going to be working tomorrow. I can't. Right. I'll be like, we get like a crow a crow making a noise or something else. It'll be good. Like an elephant getting caught in a slamming door. Foghorn. Oh, that'd be good. Wah, wah. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a beep. It could be something else. Bart, thank you very much. What a great show this evening. Oh, Bart, I don't know if you were here, and of course I don't have great light for it, but Bart, let me, if everyone else, if I can, very, very quickly. And for the new viewers making it in, Bart knows what this is. He has one. Here we go. It's a little bit in the dark, Bart, but here we go. So I got this from Bob, our brother Bob, today in the mail. He wanted to send it as a donation to the studio. Says he loves the show. Candace says, Bart, I'm still thinking about that beer. I know, right? I'm thirsty. Can you hear? Ever since Bart said that, and I don't even drink beer. But still, thank you, Bart, very much. It was a great show. Brother Bob, yes, to the rescue. Funny, it's beautiful, and it has a resonance you just wouldn't believe. It's the same resonance. And let me put it this way. When we talk about Mortal Up, when we talk about squaring your shoulders, drawing in a deep breath, your lungs, your diaphragm can work to draw in as deep a breath as this bell, as this fire extinguisher can belt out. That resonance, that's a part of you. That's what activates your natural resources. That's what activates your authentic vigor, right? Your buried logic, your gut feeling. Joseph says a Swiss cowbell. You should see the little triangle we have on top of the climbing wall. Whenever the kids get all the way up in the top, they hit this little triangular bell. It's something else, Joe. It really is. But not as beautiful as this. I gotta hit this one more time before we go. And then what I'm going to do tonight is figure out how to make a stand for it here in the studio. And when we should, because we used to do, Wayne, as you remember, the gong heard round the world. We got to figure out what we're going to do, right? What we're going to do to trigger that bell. Like if someone texts in, calls in, someone wins a competition, someone does this or that. Oh, hey, listen, also, everyone's still here. Wayne, that I'm sending out a shirt. We'll be sending you out a koozie as well, just so you know. We'll be sending you a shirt and a koozie, so make sure that Wayne gets those addresses. All right, we're going to get ready to go ahead and get out of here. Wayne, thank you again for everything you do. Super appreciate it. Glad to hear that you are now free to move about, or within 21 days, free to move about the state, that Governor Whitmer, a.k.a. Alyssa Milano, has nothing she can do or say about it. I'm very thrilled for you. Yes, sir. Yeah, I know. That's what I love about you, right? I get you. Let me say hello to Brian. Brian, thank you for joining us on Radio Brawdy. And I was just talking about you a little bit ago, Brian. I go, you and my brother Bart, you both could tear a tree out of the ground with your bare hands. So let's make sure we got shirts that'll fit these country boys. You know what I mean, Wayne? They're huge. They're just massive. So let's make sure we've got something that can cover these barrel-chested guys. And then also, ladies, please give Wayne a quick number, your address via instant message, and we'll go ahead and bang them out. All right, thank you all so very much for joining us this evening on Facebook, most certainly on YouTube. Thank you so very much for listening, spending an hour with us. Also over on Twitter, LinkedIn, or if you're catching the tape broadcast on the show on Spotify, iHeart, or iTunes, thank you all so very much. Brian says he ordered mine. Well, thank you, Brian, and thank you so very much. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. Thank you for joining us. We will be back tomorrow night, apparently, hopefully with the lights figured out and a new stand for the bell. So thank you once again for joining us. Don't forget to hit us up at mortalup.com, all kinds of new things. And the poll, we didn't even get to talk about it this evening. We'll talk about that tomorrow night. But thank you all so very much. Get out there, Mortal Up, and have an absolutely fantastic evening. Wayne?
Thanks for listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up.